Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another video, and in today's video I want to talk all about a brand new CyberPunk game coming to PC later this month. No, it's not CyberPunk 2077 that was initially scheduled to be released this month. Kind of crazy to think about it that way. And while that might be the main CyberPunk title you guys are looking forward to this year, I point your attention to CloudPunk. This game looks really cool, and I've been keeping my eyes on it for a couple of months now, and it's really been fleshed out over the last while, and it's actually coming out this Friday. I've been looking a lot into it. There's not a ton of information online on it. However, there are a few trailers out that I'll play at the end of this video, and you guys can take a look at that and realize if you want it for yourself. However, I do want to highlight the game, and immediately when I looked at CloudPunk, I was automatically enamored by the visuals. This visual and aesthetic and presentation style is so unique, so compelling that I was immediately captivated by the game, but it extends beyond that. Automatically, the cyberpunk and sci-fi setting is something that is going to be right up my alley. It's a genre and a setting that I don't think is utilized enough in gaming. Who knows, after the release of games like CloudPunk, games like CyberPunk 2077, maybe these games are going to be received so well that this type of genre and this type of setting explodes. Obviously, we've seen games in the past like Deus Ex and whatever the case may be, but I just don't think it's been as much of a regular thing as I would have liked to see. So what is CloudPunk? As detailed on the Steam store page, it's a neon noir story in a rain-drenched cyberpunk metropolis. It's your first night on the job working for the CloudPunk delivery service. 2 rules: don't miss a delivery and don't ask what's in the package. So I feel like there's gonna be a pretty big amount of mystery in this game, given that not asking any questions only leads us to ask questions, and what do questions usually entail? Answers that lead us to more questions, and I think that is going to be an unraveling of a mystery. That's going to be one of the core elements of the game. That's just what I've deduced based on just general thinking about the description and what this game entails. The main character in CloudPunk is a character named Rania. This is your first night working for CloudPunk, the semi-legal delivery company based in the sprawling city of Novalis, and they've actually have some gifts on the Steam page. And right away, the city, while maybe you think it looks a little empty, from my standpoint, I love the lights, I love the look of the city, and ultimately we have to see how it's fleshed out in the longevity and the entirety of the game, but nonetheless, it looks really cool, and you go everywhere from the marrow below to the spires that pierce the great clouds high above before scraping the edge of the troposphere. No delivery job is too dangerous, and no one is faster than a CloudPunk driver, and it does seem like you're gonna have to drive around some chaotic situations where you are avoiding and dodging a lot of the oncoming traffic. At its core, this is a story-based exploration game. You'll meet a diverse range of characters, including androids, AI, and unscrupulous humans at every level of society. Everyone in the game has a story, and in the course of one night in Novalis, everything will change. So do expect a game that is very much character-driven, very much story-driven, while the gameplay can be seen as UPS delivery simulator, much like Death Stranding. This is very much different in that you are riding a vehicle and you are operating a vehicle, but definitely delivery and that element is at its core. But what's ultimately going to flesh this game out is the story, is the characters. At least that's what the description is suggesting. The game's key features also note explore an immense vertical cyberpunk city with hovercar and on foot. So it's not just going to be a drivable hovercar that you'll be exploring the city on. You'll also be on foot exploring the city in its whole. Unravel mysteries in a world of corporate conspiracy, hackers, and rogue AI through the eyes of Rania. Meet a diverse range of characters and immerse yourself in their everyday lives, and your decisions will have a lasting impact on the inhabitants of Novalis, and discover hidden places and items, unlocking additional stories. So there's gonna be a lot of branching storylines that do play out. It's not just gonna be the core integral main story, but all of these characters are gonna have their own separate storyline that you'll see fleshed out throughout the course of the game. At least that's what is being suggested. That's the general information we have on the game. We do also have the complete system requirements, which I always like to take a look at, and visually this game is quite compelling, even though maybe it's the art style that has really drawn me into the game, but it does have some higher system requirements. But definitely nothing too crazy. So at a minimum level, you're looking at an AMD Intel CPU, that's an AMD FX 4300 or an Intel i3 4130 or newer, so that's pretty low end, all things considered. You're looking at 8GB minimum of RAM. Recommended is quite hefty, so we'll get to that in a little bit. Minimum GPU and an AMD or NVIDIA dedicated GPU with at least 2GB of dedicated VRAM and shader model 5.1 support. They specifically note the AMD R9 285 or the NVIDIA GeForce GTX 760 or newer. The 760 is a relatively old GPU, so that's nothing too crazy. And then as far as recommended goes, you're looking at an AMD or Intel CPU at a Ryzen 3 1300X or an Intel i7 930. Of all the i7s that they could draw from, the 930 is quite an old CPU. Nonetheless, the Ryzen 3 1300X, a more recent CPU, so that is a relatively cheap CPU, but the i7 930, probably not something a lot of people are running anymore. Recommended RAM, 16GB of RAM, so that's kind of crazy in the sense that minimum is 8GB and recommended is 16. Comparatively speaking to all of the other system requirements, this is probably the highest one in that 16GB of RAM, comparatively speaking to like a Ryzen 3 1300X, isn't anything too crazy. In the sense that the CPU isn't anything too crazy comparatively to 16GB of RAM being quite hefty. Nonetheless, 16GB of RAM is being something that's a little bit more commonplace in building a gaming PC, and at the end of the day, a lot of these games that do recommend 16GB, more often than not, you'll be fine with 8GB. You can get away with 8, and in this case, 8 is minimum, and I think if you have every other requirement on the recommended side of things and you have 8GB of RAM, I do think you're ultimately going to be fine, but we'll have to wait and see how the game shakes out to make that final judgment. That's just how anecdotally I've seen things play out. Alright, recommended GPU requirement, AMD or NVIDIA, dedicated GPU with 6GB of dedicated VRAM, so you're going from 2 to 6, and it seems like they're putting a lot of emphasis on that VRAM requirement, and shader model 6.0 or 6.1, they're talking the AMD RX 580 8GB or the NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1060 6GB or newer. Do remember that there's a 1060 3GB, and they don't actually specify that it's the 1060 6GB, but they do note 6GB of dedicated VRAM, so I'm coming to that conclusion. And then you are going to want 25GB of available storage space, and you will be able to play this game with full controller support as well, so I think ultimately it will be released on consoles as well. CloudPunk looks like a really interesting title, and if you wanted your CyberPunk fix in the month of April, definitely keep this game on your radar as it's just about to be released in 2 days. From a visual standpoint, I'm definitely enamored by it. The music sounds really good, and I do want to transition into a trailer here so you guys can see the game in its full form, and I don't have to talk over it, so enjoy that. That's going to conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush here again. Hope you enjoyed the video. As you guys might know, YouTube's notification system is sometimes a little bit wonky, even if you're subscribed to the channel. Maybe you're not abundantly aware that I uploaded a video. To remedy that situation, make sure you hit the bell notification button. This way, whenever I upload a new video, and I try to upload as consistently as possible, you will be notified directly of the upload, and you can watch it as soon as it goes live. I would really appreciate if you guys hit that button so you can stay up to date with all of the content I'm posting. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.